Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are unpacking two absolutely critical frameworks that you're going to need to truly thrive in our rapidly shifting economy. Look, we all know we're living in an era where intelligent machines and automation are just fundamentally rewriting the rules of the game. To not just survive, but actually flourish, you need a strategy. You need a blueprint. Well, actually, scratch that. You need two. In this explainer, we're going to break down this dual blueprint required for future success. One for the organizations we build, and one for the individual human capabilities we bring to the table. Let's get into it. All right, here's a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll hit 1. Designing future value. 2. The business model canvas. 3. The 9 building blocks. 4. Foundational skills for citizens. And 5. Deltas driving success. Starting off with Section 1, Designing Future Value, the Core Challenge. So this is the ultimate hurdle of our modern economy, right? How exactly do we create value in the future? Specifically, how do organizations and individuals carve out value in a world where everything that can be automated absolutely will be? Think about it. If an algorithm can crunch massive data sets, or a machine can assemble the product, what's actually left for the business? And more importantly, what is left for you? To make sense of this shift, let's get our terms straight first. A business model simply describes the rationale of how an organization creates, delivers, and captures value. Basically, how do you invent something people actually want? How do you get it to them? And crucially, how do you capture enough of that value to, keep the lights on? Moving right along to Section 2, the Business Model Canvas, a strategic tool. You can really think of the Business Model Canvas as a literal toolkit. It is a brilliant one-page handbook for visionaries trying to design tomorrow's enterprises. And the great thing is, you don't just use it to dream up completely new business models from scratch. It is equally powerful for diagnosing existing models that might be kind of failing to keep up with the times. Which brings us to Section 3, the 9 building blocks, constructing the canvas. So you start with a totally blank slate. And the elegance of this layout is just how beautifully it organizes a ton of complex moving parts. Notice the division here. The right side focuses on the customer and value exchange. That's the creative, front-facing stuff. The left side handles infrastructure and efficiency, the behind-the-scenes mechanics. It's like a giant puzzle. First up, we've got to ask the big money question. What are customers actually willing to pay for? This dictates your revenue streams. Are your customers making one-time transactional purchases, like buying a cup of coffee? Or have you designed a recurring model, like a monthly streaming subscription? If your value proposition is the heart of your business, your revenue streams are definitely the arteries. Next, we map out the key resources. These are the absolute essential assets you need to make the whole shebang work. And we're not just talking about money. It could be physical assets like a huge manufacturing facility, intellectual assets like a patent, or human resources like a highly specialized team of engineers. Without these, the whole model just collapses. All right, then we get into key activities. Think of it this way. If resources are what you have, key activities are what you do. These are the absolute most crucial actions the organization must perform to operate successfully. For example, a software company's key activity is continuous platform development. For a consulting firm, it's problem solving. Now, swinging over to the far left, we absolutely have to recognize our key partners. Because let's be real, no business exists in a vacuum, and trying to do everything yourself is just incredibly inefficient. You must know who you rely on, who provides the raw materials or the distribution network that frees you up to focus purely on your core key activities. And finally, all these behind-the-scenes infrastructure blocks result in a specific cost structure. This maps out exactly what is driving the biggest expenses in your operation. Are you a lean, cost-driven business focused on automation? Or are you a value-driven business where high costs are totally justified by premium personalization? This block is what ensures your brilliant ideas are actually financially viable. Okay, here is the crucial pivot point. The business model canvas we just looked at, that's the macro-level blueprint. But an organization is really just a concept on paper without the actual human beings executing it. So while organizations are busy adapting to these new models, individuals desperately need a micro-level blueprint to actually run them. That takes us to Section 4, Foundational Skills for Citizens, the Micro Blueprint. Now, this is super fascinating. Researchers dug into the future of adult training and basically sorted future readiness into 4 undeniable categories. To future-proof yourself, you need cognitive skills like mental flexibility, interpersonal skills like teamwork, self-leadership skills like role modeling, and digital skills like understanding smart systems. But skills is honestly kind of too narrow of a word here. Researchers actually identified 56 specific items within those four categories, and they call them deltas, distinct elements of talent. Why a new acronym? Because future readiness requires a really unique mix of hard skills and essential attitudes. Like programming literacy is a hard skill for sure, but adaptability, coping with uncertainty, those are attitudes, and in today's world, both are absolutely critical. And finally, Section 5, Deltas Driving Success, Tangible Outcomes. So do these deltas actually matter in the real world? Well, let's look at the data, because it tells an amazing story about your earning potential. Proficiency in these talents drastically increases your chance of earning a high income. For instance, mastering a cognitive delta like work plan development bumps up your odds of a high income by a massive 27%. Organizational awareness bumps it up by 23%. To put that in perspective, the market literally pays a huge premium for humans who can organize chaos and act with decisive confidence. And this brings everything full circle. Why do things like work plan development and organizational awareness pay so incredibly well? Well, it's because, as the researchers concluded, you have to master the deltas that allow you to add value beyond what can be done by automated systems and intelligent machines. An algorithm can execute a perfectly defined task, sure, but it takes human mental flexibility, empathy, and organizational awareness to actually design that task, manage the team, and build the business model of the future. So I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought to chew on. We've explored the dual blueprint. On one side, the business model canvas maps out how your organization creates, delivers, and captures value. On the flip side, those 56 deltas map out the distinct cognitive, interpersonal, and digital talents you need to remain indispensable. So, which side of the blueprint will you work on first? Your organization's business model or your own deltas? Think about it, because the future isn't going to wait for us to decide. Thanks so much for hanging out with me on this explainer. Now go start drawing off those blueprints.